like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Sometimes the loudest stories are not told through words, but through moments that pass quietly on screen. A glance that lingers. A smile that appears for half a second too long. A reaction so natural that it cannot be rehearsed. And in the world of BTS, there are certain moments that feel different. Moments that stay with you, no matter how many times you watch them again. Today, we're not talking about grand stages or explosive performances. We're talking about the subtle details. The in-between scenes. The kind of interactions that feel small at first, but slowly grow into something unforgettable. Because when it comes to Jimin and Jungkook, even the quietest moments have a way of telling a story, one that begins as strangers and somehow, without anyone noticing, starts to feel like something much more. Welcome back to Na Diorpop. There is a pattern that never seems to fade whenever people talk about Jimin and Jungkook. A quiet thread that keeps resurfacing, no matter how much time passes or how many moments come and go. Jikook has always loved playing the role of from strangers to lovers. It sounds simple, almost cliché when written down, yet when it is them doing it, the story feels different, real, subtle, and dangerously convincing. They never perform it loudly. There are no grand confessions, no obvious lines meant to force the audience into believing something. Instead, everything is built from distance. From hesitation. From moments that look awkward on the surface but are heavy with meaning underneath. It feels as if they intentionally draw an invisible line between them, only to slowly, carefully step across it when the timing feels right. In that strangers phase, Jimin often becomes the one who shows his emotions most honestly. There is a softness he never tries to hide, paired with a self-awareness that sometimes makes him look shy, almost vulnerable. Like the moment when he complained that his cheeks were too red. The words slipped out lightly, casually. Jimin complaining about his cheeks being too red, as if it were a flaw, as if it were something that needed fixing. And yet, from any perspective, the only real problem Jimin has is that he is far too handsome, loudly crying face, too captivating to the point where even the most human reaction, his cheeks flushing, turns into something endearing. That redness is not a weakness. It is proof of sincerity. Proof that he is fully present in the moment, unguarded, unfiltered. And this is usually where Jungkook comes in, not always with words, but with presence. His gaze lingers just a fraction of a second longer than necessary. His smile appears small, restrained, but unmistakable. Jungkook is the type who observes first, absorbs everything, and then responds in his own quiet way, calm, instinctive, and honest. These tiny interactions form the foundation of their shared role-playing. To an outsider, it might look like harmless teasing. But to anyone who understands body language, another story is unfolding beneath the surface. Because every time Jimin shows vulnerability, Jungkook is there. Sometimes as balance, sometimes as protection, sometimes simply as someone who sees him. Then comes the visual moment that seems to tie everything together. The scene where all 7 of them walk down the sharp-angled staircase. On paper, it might appear insignificant. Just a transition shot. Something that could easily pass without leaving a strong impression. But with BTS, and especially with Jimin and Jungkook, it becomes something more. The staircase is steep. The camera angle is sharp. Their movements are synchronized yet individual. There is a subtle tension that makes the scene feel alive. And the reactions that follow, from the members themselves, are incredibly touching, and adorable laughter bursts out naturally. Surprise flashes across their faces. There is that sudden realization that they have created something unexpectedly cool. What makes this moment even more special is the fact that they themselves find it really cool, not out of arrogance, but out of genuine satisfaction. A quiet pride shines through. The kind that only artists feel when something clicks perfectly, when a moment turns out better than imagined. And among the 7, Jimin and Jungkook once again seem to exist within the same orbit. Their steps feel aligned. Their energy flows together without effort. There is no need for exaggerated gestures or obvious closeness. And that is exactly where the power lies. Because their connection does not rely on physical distance, but on emotional synchronization. Watching them, it becomes impossible not to think that the members must completely lose their minds every time they discover the perfect moment while preparing this album. There is an excitement that feels almost childlike. A joy that is pure and unmanufactured. Like a group of creators stumbling upon something brilliant and being unable to contain their happiness. During album preparations, moments like these are treasures. They are not just visuals or concepts. They are the result of trust. Of years spent together. Of feeling safe enough to experiment, to look awkward, to laugh when something turns out cooler than planned. Jimin and Jungkook, with their unique dynamic, always seem to know when to hold back and when to step closer. When to act like strangers who barely know each other, and when to let familiarity and affection surface, slowly, inevitably. This role never feels repetitive, because each time they play it, something new appears. More maturity. Deeper emotion. Greater understanding. In the end, Jikook is not about one viral moment. Not about a single dramatic scene meant to steal attention. It is about the accumulation of small, consistent, meaningful details. About flushed cheeks mentioned shyly. About spontaneous laughter on a sharp staircase. About fleeting glances caught on camera that speak louder than words. And perhaps that is why their story never feels finished. Because they never force it. They allow it to grow naturally. Like a familiar tale told again and again, not to be memorized, but to be felt. And in the end, that may be exactly why moments like these feel so precious. Not because there is a grand confession or because everything is explained out loud, but because Jimin and Jungkook allow the story to grow on its own, slowly, honestly, and full of emotion. Between quiet laughter, flushed cheeks, and steps that move in sync, they show us that closeness does not always need to be declared. Sometimes, it only needs to be felt. Noticed by those who are willing to look a little closer. And as album after album takes shape, one thing becomes clearer with every process. The most meaningful moments are often born not from big plans, but from sincerity that appears in between. From a bond built over time, until it no longer feels like work, but like home. Thank you for spending this moment with us. If you, too, find warmth in the small details that are so often overlooked, stay with Na Diorpop, where unspoken stories continue to live, and where even the simplest moments are never meaningless.